Well, what a crowd is right. So it's going to be a little hard to actually go behind John, because that was pretty inspiring. Wouldn't you think? It was very inspiring. Well, I'm going to do a little bit different tonight, because you know what, I need to stay on point, and it's a little bit of some history here, because you know a lot of people are kind of wondering, especially the people that where were you guys a few years ago? So I'm going to give you some of that history so that you kind of know. Does everybody hear me? No. Do you hear me now? So I have a lot of attachment to this community in Campbell River, because my grandfather lived. He worked at Raven Lumber, and he actually lived across the street from the Ideal store. So I spent a lot of years here, every summer, every winter, every Christmas. So, I have a real attachment. My son-in-law, his dad is also from here. He grew up here. And I don't know if anybody knows Butch. Does anybody know Butch? Yeah? Okay, that's my son-in-law's father. So, he's quite an establishment himself from what I understand. So Butch Carroll, everybody know him? Yeah? Okay. So I have something that, if you guys have ever heard, you ever heard of a butterfly effect? Yeah, so this party has a butterfly effect. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the butterfly effect that I've actually been able to be a part of. So early in 2020, when we all got into a situation where we found out that we were probably not going to make it, and we had this pandemic. And the pandemic put us in a position where, like myself, my business was closed. And, you started thinking to yourself, where do we go? So my son, he says to me, he's 36 years old, he said, Dad, you always talk about politics, and why don't you get involved? So what did I do? I had nothing else to do. We were all staying at home, so I got involved, right? So I chased down the party. And at that time, the party was, I'll be honest with you, it was really quiet. There was a time, I think it was in 2013, that it had a little bit of a momentum, but that kind of fizzled. So I think a lot of you kind of might remember that time, but at the same time, the party was quiet. So I got a hold of the party, and in that time, there was a lot of, how would you say, learning for myself and trying to figure out how things were. And I'll be honest, things were kind of like a club. They really weren't a party. Until I got a hold of a gentleman, and I was having a conversation after one of our board meetings, and he says, this air and gun guy, what about this air and gun guy? And I said, what about him? He goes, well, we knew that he just was asked to, or not asked to, but was disqualified for the nomination as the leader. And he's standing right back there. And, I thought, well, hey, do we have a phone number? And they said, yeah, we got a phone number. I give a call, and guess what? I get Connor. Connor says, well, I don't know. Aaron's kind of right now, kind of a little bit, maybe broken from, what's going on. But I don't know. Let's set up a call. So we set up a call. And Aaron comes along, and we bring in this common sense group and went to an AGM, and the party at that time started to see some change and some momentum. So having said that, we put ourselves in a position where we started to grow. We started to get some organization. And in that organization, things came along. We had a couple of by-elections. We did pretty good. We put ourselves in a position where, hey, we went from nobody, and we had a couple of by-elections, and next thing I know, I think we're in about the 10th percentile. And you got to remember, this is from nowhere. So lo and behold, we end up in a situation where Connor comes up to me, and he says, Mike, we have a by-election coming up in Langford. Well, I was part of the board. I was never thinking about running. And I actually gave him a flat-out no. I'm not doing that. And he goes, why did you get involved? And I had to really think about it. And I said, well, we got involved to make a difference. He goes, well then, what's your problem? So I thought, okay, well, let's make that change. So we ended up being in a situation where I did my nomination with the province, and we ended up getting into the by-election, and the newspaper and the media didn't recognize us. They didn't recognize the party. They didn't recognize me. We were the only ones that actually did our nomination papers with BC Elections, or Elections BC, but the other three candidates were mentioned, but not us. And I said to Connor, what the heck? He goes, don't worry about it. This is how they are. So lo and behold, we get ourselves going along, and everybody was, you aren't going to get anything but 2%. You're not going to get anything 2%. Well, this gentleman here that I met, Jeff, and we were in one of these kind of meetings here, but at that time we were in these meetings that were kind of secret, and we weren't telling anybody. We were trying to raise up and take over the NDP. So Jeff and I went out there for 28 days. We worked our tail off. We got ourselves into a situation where, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be standing here today if we didn't do what we had. And I don't actually know if the party would be here today if we didn't do what we do, but we didn't do it by ourselves. We had a group from Comox Valley, Souk, we had John Corey, we had John Corey's wife, we had Marina, her group. So we had this humongous group that basically took us to that place, but we did that, we got 20%. Yeah, we're first loser. We did not get the win, but we will next time, all right? When I got involved with this party, there was less than 500 members. We are now at 5,000 members. 10,000. So it's quite a feat.
10,000. 10,000.
What's that?
10,000.
Over 10,000. Gee, I asked the question this morning. Well, that even looks better. 10,000. Wow, that's great. 50,000. Well, 50,000, that's right. So, you got to think, where we were and where we've come from is a big place. So what John was saying is right, because we can't do this without you guys. There's just no way possible. And I'll tell you something, when I ran that by-election, I actually thought I was going to win. Every door I went to, maybe 9 out of 10, they were positive. So, when we got the results, I was a little bit, dumbfounded. And of course, when you lose something, you kind of think to yourself, oh my God, I thought I was actually going to win this thing. But, Connor's partner, Angelo, he says to me, it wasn't that you lost, you ran out of time. Because you had the momentum, but 28 days to do a campaign is pretty short. So in that time period, not only did we give the party a boost, we gave our riding a boost, we put ourselves in a position that we're sitting here today. So now at 5,000 members, we're at 20 times bigger than it was 4 years ago. Well, you guys are the ones that are doing that. You guys are the ones that are joining on. You guys are the ones that are bringing those people forward. The other part that we have is we have 61 candidates presently. So we have, how many to go? 31 to go. No, 32. 93 in total. We have a wonderful candidate here. Anna Kidney, she's going to win this riding. Our polling is at 38 to 40%, give or take 3%. And what is the NDP at? 40%. And we haven't even rolled out our campaign promises yet, have we? No. So could you imagine what's going to happen? And what do we have here tonight? 500 people? Do you know that you're going to go back and you're going to tell another 10 people what kind of an event it was, what these people are like? We're not that scary conservative people. We're actually just like everybody else out there. We're just normal people that want normal things and want common sense back. Isn't that right? Exactly. Last but not least, what came out of this? We had one that was rejected by the Liberal Party back there. Well, we had the other one that was rejected. We had 2 gifts from the Liberal Party. Did we not? Yeah, and we now have a leader with John Rustad that is taking us to the next level. This guy has leveled us up. Anyhow, thanks everybody for allowing me to speak. I'm really grateful to be here, and I'll tell you something. I'm super impressed. This is the biggest crowd that I think we've had yet. Isn't it? You bet. Connor?
Thank you, Mike. One more time for Mike Harris.